Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome to a new DC live stream. I'm your host, Matt Batiri, here on a Monday to give you the latest and greatest Bitcoin technical analysis. So we've had a pretty interesting week so far. We've had a lot of action. So let's dive into the charts and see what Bitcoin is going to do next. So as of last week, Bitcoin did break this trend line, which has hopefully caused a bump and run pattern. If you haven't checked that out, just Google bump and run patterns. It's basically once we have like this sort of bear market, we tend to have a lot of these downward trend lines on a lot of assets. And once we do break this sort of trend line, it usually leads to a bit of an explosive move to the upside. But we haven't really had much action since breaking the trend line. And on the weekly scale, we can kind of see that we're still hanging around this lower end of the range, between $18,500 and $19,000. So on the weekly scale, if I throw on some of my indicators, we can see that on market cipher B, we're still in the red money flow. We're in the heavy red money flow. We've actually created a new lower low on the red money flow, which still doesn't give me great confidence that Bitcoin has bottomed just yet. The stochastic RSI moving averages have turned bearish and crossed to the downside, but the MACD did print a nice green histogram candle last week. So bit of contradiction in some of the three indicators that I'm currently using. Let's maybe chuck on the RSI. Let's swap the stochastic for just normal RSI. And let's see if we can see anything of great value. Well, I can't really see any bullish divergences on the weekly scale. Actually, we might have one. Yeah, I think we've got one. Okay, perfect. This is not too bad. So on the weekly scale, we created a lower low from the week of the 19th of September to last week, where we had a lower low on the 10th of October. And if we look at the RSI and we pinpoint the exact same spot on the weekly RSI, which is right here, and then we go to this point right here, which is the same point as this price action, we can see that we've created a higher high. So this is a bullish divergence from the price action to the RSI. So that's bullish, especially because the RSI is a pretty well used indicator, but I would say most traders, if not all traders. It is a little bit old school, but when you have a bullish divergence with price action and the RSI, that usually leads to good things. So that is one positive for those bulls out there that want to start longing Bitcoin and probably think that Bitcoin has bottomed. All right, let's zoom into the daily. So you can see once we broke, let me zoom in here. You can see that once we broke this trend line, we've sort of been dropping and using this trend line as support now. We had a bit of liquidity grab here, creating a bit of a swing failure pattern from this low point right here. So what basically happens here, right? Normal retail investors see this price action right here going to the downside. And so everyone automatically thinks, oh, we're breaking down. I've got to start shorting because we're going to $10,000, $5,000 or whatever. So this creates a lot of people opening up shorts just in this bottom end. And once we grab the liquidity, we then get a swift and quick move to the upside. And that's basically what we got last week. If I zoom into the 4-hour, you can see that basically once we broke this low here, there would have been a lot of liquidity. And then we had a $2,000 push to the upside in the space of 24 hours, which is great. Bitcoin's volatile. It can do that. It can move very quickly. And as you can see, in the space of a day, we basically dropped 6%, and then we recovered 10% in a matter of hours just following it. So right now, Bitcoin is doing Bitcoin things. It has been supported by, there was a daily level here. If I throw on just my support and resistance lines, we can see that we had a daily and weekly level right here, which gives us, I guess, double the amount of support that we would normally have with any sort of trend line. We have a weekly level up here that has now sort of been tapped and is no longer, valid. And then we had this monthly right here. So we had this monthly resistance line that we pumped up to this morning. As you can see, we touched it perfectly, came back down to test the point of control of this entire sideways range. So let me just move that to there. So this entire section that this box is outlined in, the point of control, so the most amount of Bitcoin traded was around $19,140. So you can see that from this sideways consolidation, we pumped up to the monthly resistance level, came back down to the point of control, pumped back up, and zigged and zagged. And then a lot of people would have lost money here. A lot of people would have FOMO'd long here, thinking we're going to the upside. People were shorted, came back down here. Everyone's like, oh, now we're going bearish. Then people re-longed here, back up here, and vice versa. It's always a bit of a game of cat and mouse between traders. But now what we seem to be doing is we seem to have once again found support at the point of control, and we're having a move to the upside. So what I think could possibly happen if we don't have a swift move past the monthly, and what you need to do is you need to be paying attention once we get to this price action. If we slice straight through it, you don't want to short here. But if we start seeing a bit of sideways action, it just sort of means that, hey, we had a lot of people once again FOMO long. Geez, we might even see this live, guys. But we could possibly do a swing failure pattern. So the exact same thing that I pointed out down here between these 2 points right here to here, we could possibly see the exact same thing once we try and break the monthly resistance line right here. So we could possibly create a swing failure pattern just going above, what was this price, 19,400, and then toppling back over. Or we also do have a golden pocket right above here, which we can we'll probably get to as well. If this doesn't act as resistance, this surely will. And if this doesn't, then you can also draw a golden pocket from this high to that low. And we have another golden pocket around 19,600. So the price will probably struggle to get past 19,600 if it moves there slowly and we see some resistance. But once again, Bitcoin can do Bitcoin things, and we could just see a big green candle going to the upside. If you see that, then obviously don't short these areas. The only way you short these areas is if you see sort of the price sort of crawl here slowly, and then we see a little bit of resistance, a bit of selling, right? You need to use some volume indicators such as XO charts or whatever, and then you might see the rejection. But Bitcoin likes to blast through levels sometimes, and this is why you sort of need to be paying attention. Don't have levels preset if you're trading. Literally, you got to be watching the charts, you got to be looking at the volume, and then you got to make some reactions depending on what you're seeing in the charts. But if we go back to the daily real quick and we chuck on my indicators, all right, we can see that the market cipher money flow is still in the red. It does look like there's obviously a bit of a temporary bottom. The money flow is rounding to the upside. Let me remove that. Let me chuck on the stochastic RSI once again. Where are we? The MACD is below the 0 line, which is usually not a bad spot for us to have a push to the upside. If we are to have these moving averages cross to the downside, we're going to see some really, really big red candles, because you can basically see every time we have a crossover below the 0 line. So here was the last one. Just point this out for you guys, where the moving averages on the MACD crossed over. Look at the corresponding selling that occurred. So this occurred here. The candle went from 20,100 to, over the next few days, we lost about $2,000, which is about 10%. So if these moving averages decide to cross over once again, we will probably see a lot of sell-off of Bitcoin. But right now, things are looking all right. And the other sort of the other thing going for Bitcoin right now is on the daily, the stochastic RSI is in the oversold territory. So, like all things, whatever is down must go up, and whatever's up must go down. So right now, the benefit, the pro of Bitcoin is the stochastic RSI is at the bottom range, so it's in the oversold territory. So we, have to start moving to the upside, because right now we're oversold. So if I now zoom into the 4-hour, let me just remove this fib retracement. We can see that on the 4-hour, the money flows exactly like the daily. We're looking to push to the upside. The MACD looks like, it's crossed over and is wanting to push above the 0 line, which would be quite bullish. The stochastic RSI did cross over, but that was on the previous low candle because we had this sell-off. But since we're moving to the upside now, we're probably going to see these cross back over bullish and then start going into the overbought territory quite soon. If I jump on the daily, okay, once again, we're in the oversold territory on the daily on the 1 hour. So this is why we're getting sort of a push to the upside. The money flow on the 1 hour is looking like it wants to curve into the green, which also is why we're sort of getting a push to the upside. But what we could possibly run into is a bearish divergence. So this market cipher B is a lot like the RSI. If we see a higher high, where's my indicator? There's my other. So if we see a higher high in price like this, okay, so we sort of blast through the monthly or just get a short week above the monthly, and we go anywhere above the previous high of 19,409. However, if we create a smaller wave, which would be what's called a trigger wave, so something like this, where we come up, boom, like so, this would create a bearish divergence, all right? And a bearish divergence is obviously the opposite of a bullish divergence that I pointed out at the start of the stream. So let's have a look at the RSI. Let's have a look if we could create, okay. So what we need is if Bitcoin does go past the 19,409 price mark and then gets rejected from here, okay, so something like this, then we're going to have a bearish divergence because the RSI will fail to create a higher high to this point right here, but we created a higher high on the price action, leading to a bearish divergence. So a bearish divergence then usually creates a bit of a sell-off, and then you have to, redo your TA where we're going to see support, probably start having support at the point of control, et cetera, et cetera. But like I said, in the short term, things look pretty good. And I think I'll be excited to see what happens over the next sort of 24 hours. Righto, we've got 3 people watching. Do we have any sort of questions about what I've sort of just covered? Is there anything that is not clear? Am I using any lingo that is unfamiliar to you? Feel free to ask, because this is an educational channel and I'd love to help you guys with your trading knowledge if some of the things that I said is still a little bit unfamiliar for you. Whilst I'm waiting for some questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a fixed range profile for this entire sideways range to see what Bitcoin, if Bitcoin has changed any of its values that I like to look at. Alrighty, so we have the entire sideways range point of control, basically where we just bounced and had supports about 19,200. So that is definitely very interesting. That usually means, especially because we failed to break below the value area of the range. The value area of the range is where you see the discoloration between these very bright colored candles and the very dark colored candles. So let me just create a horizontal line to make it a little bit easier for you guys. So this white line is called the value area low of this entire sideways range. So we went below the value area low, grabbing a lot of liquidity, everyone thinking that we're breaking down. We came back into the value area. We are now above the point of control. And normally what happens when this occurs, quite regularly, even if it's not on a larger scale, but even on a smaller scale. So when you have like these parts of consolidation, you'll see the exact same thing. We should now technically move to the upside of this range, which also is close to a weekly resistance level of 21,829. So we could possibly see Bitcoin have a big green candle over the next week or so and make its way up here to the weekly, probably and likely find resistance, and then obviously come back down, retrace, maybe come back down to the golden pocket, which would be the point of control. And, this would be the best scenario for Bitcoin, moving up to the weekly, coming back down maybe to the 618 fib retracement and then pushing to the upside. That's probably the most that's the most bullish case for Bitcoin. But the bearish case is obviously, once again, getting rejected by the monthly, breaking below the point of control of 19,100 and then forming lower lows. So that's everything that, I'll be looking for in the short term. So we got a question. Let's have a look. I jumped in late, so we'll have to catch up. Yep, not a problem. Feel free to rewind the video grasp everything that you would like to grasp. But short term, guys, I'm short term bullish. How far to the upside, I can't really tell you, but short term, I am bullish. Still, medium term, I'm still bearish. I still think that Bitcoin will go down further before it breaks, for example, the 25,000 local high, just purely for the fact that if you're looking at the normal stock market, the normal stock market doesn't look too happy either. All right, so the S&P, we did get a bullish divergence. So this is exactly what I was speaking about before. So we created a low in price, but on market cipher B, we've created a trigger wave. So you can see that little green dot that's created an anchor wave and a trigger wave right here. That's a bullish divergence, hence why we had a bit of a push to the upside. But as you can see with the stock market, the point of control of the stock market is around 3,774. So yeah, we could get a move to the point of control. But that'll be hard to break. We may roll over and start creating new lows, because what I'm seeing still macroeconomically with all the news and so forth is still bad news, unless there's been news of better CPI data, interest rates interest rates not going up for the next hike, or maybe not going up as high. So I think the last hike rate for the US was 75 basis points. If they reduce that to like 50 basis points, that might give people some confidence that the economy is making a turn. So people are going to rush back in maybe to the stock market and start deploying funds. If they do that, Bitcoin's going to follow, because they are correlated assets, unfortunately. And we could see a move to the upside. So the Fed and the US government has so much power over the stock market, and they say that they don't, but really everyone listens to what they say. So if we see some good news in the coming month about interest rates, CPI data, employment rates, things like that, then yeah, we could see a very good dead cat bounce to the upside. And I think I've spoken about this before on a previous stream. Bitcoin can go up to about $50,000, which is the 618 retracement, Fibonacci retracement, and then we'll see a pullback, because that's exactly what it did last bear market. So let me remove all these lines, because I know sometimes it can get a little bit confusing. Okay, so if I draw a Fibonacci retracement from the all-time high, the latest all-time high, up here to the low that we formed on 18th of June, you can see that 618 retracement is around $50,000. If we go back through history and see what Bitcoin has done, so let's look at the last bear market. So after we broke the bump and run pattern, which is what I spoke about at the start of the stream, Bitcoin from the all-time high to the all-time low retraced to the golden pocket, okay, midway through the bear run. So we went up to $14,000, then basically had a secondary bear market sideways. We had the COVID dump, and then we started the rally, exponential rally to the upside. We could be doing the exact same thing, right? So now that we've broken the bump and run, we could explode all the way to about 50K, hit the golden pocket, and then roll over, not make lower lows, because this would have been the low, but maybe come back into the 20s, like what we did back here. This was obviously a little bit of an anomaly, because there was a black swan event being COVID. So I don't think if we had COVID, this probably would have been the low. What's that? Let's have a quick look at what that was in regards to the Fibonacci. Okay, so as you can see, this was a 618 retracement as well. So we probably would have bottomed here and then had the exponential run and maybe hit 100K if we didn't have the COVID black swan event right here. This is where COVID got announced, and then just SHIT hit the fan. So right now, that's exactly what we could do here. We could pump up to 50K. Then we do a fib retracement from the low to 50K. Let's go 50K on the nose, thereabouts, boom. And then we could see Bitcoin come back down to about 30K, which is close to this consolidation that we had. So probably some good support, and then we start our next bull run. So yeah, look. Like I said, short term, I'm bullish with Bitcoin. When I mean short term, I mean like the next couple of days. But apart from that, I'm probably not going to start making some predictions. We've got a lot of resistance. We do need to, like I said, we need to get past the local monthly point of control, which was resistance early this morning at around about 19,400. But we could get a swift move up if we can, solidify ourselves above the point of control, which once again was 19,100. So if we can stay above 19,100 for the next couple of days, that will give investors great confidence. And yeah, we could see a swift move to the upside. Alrighty, guys, that is it for my Bitcoin technical analysis video. So just look out. I think that in the short term, yes, we have a little bit of bullishness, but right now, what I'm looking for Bitcoin to do is break this monthly. If it fails to break this monthly, we want to stay supported from the local point of control. So we're just going to go from here to here. So the local point of control is 19,140. If we can stay above that, that's good. If we break below that and close a 4-hour candle below that, then we're going to probably start retesting the lows once again, between 18,000 and 18,500. But we'll probably have a bit of a bounce from the golden pocket right here, which is a value area low around 18,700. So like I said, 4-hour candle below 14,140, probably coming back down to here. And this will be sort of our last area of support. If this doesn't support us, then yeah, we are going to probably go down to lower figures. Alrighty, guys, that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Feel free to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. If you ever have any questions during the stream, you're always welcome to comment below. And apart from that, I will catch you next week for the next Bitcoin technical analysis video. Bye for now.